Alrighty, so welcome everybody to the March operations call. So we'll go through a few of the items on the agenda today. We've got general updates, a few things that have been fixed and resolved that have been outstanding for a little while now. So we'll touch on those ones throughout this call. Digital marketing performance, the March and April sales promotions, what's happening this month, what we have upcoming next month, and then sales performance for February. And then we'll open up to a Q&A at the end of the call. So we'll get stuck straight into it. So system updates, as everyone would have seen from Candace, I believe last week, we have partnered with a new retail brand, Bondi Active, which will give us the ability to order merch through the website, which can then be sold through the studios. So this is kind of an effort that's been put in place to help alleviate some of the retail questions, and allows us to potentially explore additional partnerships with them where we can do some custom branded clothing with them. So it's very early days in the partnership, but at this stage, it is going to be just their merchandise that we'll be promoting in studio, and then Candace will continue to explore the branded merch. And as that comes into fruition, we'll pass it on to the studios. So if anybody hasn't, go ahead.
Good question. So if we're going to be ordering stuff from them, does that mean that it's like acceptable for our staff to wear that stuff as well as CycleBar stuff?
As long as they still have a CycleBar branded item of clothing on, then yes. So we want the staff to be in the CycleBar clothing as people are coming in, so it's easy to identify who's working in the studio. So specifically like the bar staff shirts and that Dominic was wearing before, perfect for staff. But as long as they have one article of CycleBar branded clothing, that's fine. So as we bring out the custom clothing with them, then yes, 100%, as long as it's got that CycleBar logo on it. Cool. So yeah, any questions on that, please email directly to admin@bondiactive.com. And you can CC Candace in on that one as well to make sure that those orders are being fulfilled in a timely manner. Alrighty, other updates. So recently the Club Ready member management dashboard had been grayed out. That has now been resolved. If you are still seeing issues with that at a studio level, please let me know. But Club Ready confirmed earlier in the week, and I spot checked a few of the studios and could confirm that that dashboard was back up and running, which means that your studio staff can start actioning the member tasks that are dropping at the appropriate time. CAP program, we had a routing issue just with the leads not having the correct referral IDs. So as they were coming into Club Ready, they were coming in as an unknown API lead source. This has now been resolved as well, and they've backdated the information for those leads. So anything over the last month or so will now have the correct referral IDs attached to it, so that at a studio level, you can effectively track your leads that are coming through. And we've now got access to the CAP program dashboard, so we can track and monitor that at a head office level a lot more effectively as well, which I believe Abby might be discussing a little bit later on in the call. As part of that, we went through and tidied up the referral IDs that are available at a studio level when adding a new prospect in. So previously everything was open to the studio. So when you're adding a new lead in, you kind of had to sift through about 30 or 40 different referral IDs to add that person into the system. We've now tidied this up to show only relevant lead sources at the studio level, which will make it easier for when you're adding them in. McDonald's surprise fries promotion. This is very similar to the Monopoly promotion where it's a 3 free classes, and the Amazon promotion that was launched beginning of last month. This has been launched today. So for all studios, bar Fitzroy, keep an eye out for those referral IDs as they're coming into the system. Anybody with the McDonald's surprise fries referral type will need to have 3 free classes added to their account, and then for you to provide their app login details so that they can manage and book their classes. The recommendation with these is to try and get them booked in within a couple of weeks so that they're using those classes as quickly as we can, giving us a better chance of converting them. There will be some stragglers that might take a little bit longer for them to use those rides. But ideally, if you can get them to be used within a couple of weeks, we know that they'll convert a lot faster. And then the last update, boutique audio visual. So that has been our, I guess, our support team for any technical issues in the studio. Are no longer supporting studios in terms of ongoing issues that might be happening. So anything that happens AV wise in the studio, if you please let me know what issue you're having. We do have 2 new support team members that will be able to assist with this. So Aaron, Rob, who I think you know from your build, Aaron Gardian, who used to work for BAV, is going to be one of our support team members for all of our studios moving forward. We also have another company who we're in the process of onboarding at the moment as well, and they'll be able to provide support across all of the platforms that we have in studio. They've been given access to all of the files from BAV, so they have everything that they need to be able to support us at a studio level. So yeah, please just let me know of any AV issues, and I'll make sure that Aaron's on top of those as quickly as he can.
Can you reshare his details, please?
Yeah, it's a new email address and everything, so I'll pass it on in email afterwards.
Thank you.
All good. Alrighty, digital marketing. On to Abby and Amanda.
All right. Hi, everyone. So I will be heading this call for the month and then the marketing call, because me and Abby like to switch off, unload the pack to each other. Like Bryce was saying, so CAP is live, which is super exciting. They did a really great rundown with head office. So we got to see a visual of things, how to utilize the system, and, really see the good insights that we can now navigate through with Club Ready and your digital marketing data. So with the studios, you guys are all good to go. I know we're working with Dominic and Ruth to lock in your digital marketing vendor. I don't know if that's happened yet, Abby or Bryce. Okay, perfect. But otherwise, everything's good to go, and we'll go over that data in the next slide. So if you have any questions about that, let us know, but you guys are pretty much buttoned up with CycleBar. And then it's recommended a spend of approximately $1,500 per month to bring a consistent flow of leads. So if you have any questions about this stuff, reach out to Abby or myself, and we can help you navigate through things. If you have questions with your vendor, reach out to us. If you need to CC us on any communication, feel free to do that as well. All right, so here's a little rundown of the studio results for February. So everyone's with WebEngage now, so it's kind of nice to see how things are stacking up studio by studio. I won't go through each number, but I'll just pause on this. If you want to take a look, take a picture, we'll also upload this after the call, so it will be available to you.
They're pretty good cost per leads for Fitzroy and Subi and Adelaide. Like $8 and $9 cost per lead is awesome. So I think Nathan's doing a pretty good job there.
He is. Yeah, I've been really happy with him so far. He's been great.
Yeah, nice work. That's good.
All right. And then moving into our monthly campaigns of promotion. So we're going to go over March and April. So obviously March has already started, so you guys should already be aware of the things that are running or available to you in Digital Stack to utilize. We did send out SOPs and that really bulky email with a really great rundown of what we are promoting and incentivizing you guys to run at your studio. So in the grassroots realm, we are urging you to offer an open class. So members can bring a friend or maybe their loved one, or invite any local businesses in the area to try CycleBar. And then, just making that an incentive for the whole month. And then also with retail, we did run that March Mayhem offer by you guys. So offering a % off of your existing retail to clear out your shelves as part of March Mayhem. So those are really editable if you want to, tinker that percentage or whatever you are offering off, you will be able to do so. And then for our membership offer, that will be joined for $99 for the first month. So this is eligible for anyone that is on a 2-ride pack per week or unlimited rides. And that can run all month long, or you can also be flexible with that during the month. And then for our referral offer, this is refer a friend and get 2 classes free. And if they join, you will get a $25 retail credit. So we have loaded in the request from our designer to get these assets made for April. So these will come soon, probably in the next week or so. So we'll let you guys know, and you'll get little, teasers on our marketing call as well, like usual. So for the membership promotion that we'll be running, this will be 25% off your first month, and we're going to run it from the 17th to the 30th. Obviously, if you want to do something different with those dates, feel free to do so. But this will only be for existing prospects in your system. So keep that in mind. And then for the referral offer, we're going to be running refer a friend and get 3 free classes. So that's pretty standard. We'll have all those assets available for you as well, because we are going into Q2. And then with brand awareness, we have a theme of sweat, cycle, and repeat. So kind of feeding into that theme of what our members love about CycleBar, what brings them to CycleBar, why they keep coming back, that community feel. So obviously these members are coming in almost every day, just feeding into that. And then also keep in mind, there is Easter weekend that will be in April. So we'll have themed ride assets for you guys, also Easter assets in general. Make sure that you're keeping people updated on your timetables, any days that you might be closed, limited classes that people are getting booked in and know ahead of time. Also, we'll make sure you guys have the resources, because you are able to edit your holiday hours in Yext, and those will then sync up with your Google My Business listing, also your website and microsite. So just making sure that that's all ready to go, and you can do that today if you wanted. So you're able to do that really far out. All right.
Cool. Thanks, Amanda. Just while I was thinking about that, on the website, does everybody have their instructor profiles loaded on Yexton in the website? Or is there any studios that still need assistance with that?
Trying to think, who can I target on this call? No, I'm kidding. I think
it's still going.
I think you guys have some. Rob, I don't know if you do. I'm not trying to call you out. Let me look. I don't want to call you out before.
I don't think we. I don't. No, it's fine. I don't think we do. So I can put that on the list.
And I'll send. I sent out an SOP, and it just gives detailed instructions on what I need, because I do it on the back end. Basically, it's just a clear photo with like a white back wall. It would be nice if they're wearing CycleBar branded, retail, and then just a little bio on their experience, whatever you want to include in that, kind of maybe a fun tidbit about that person that would be exciting for someone to read and book in with that person.
Yeah, I can't go into it too much because we literally only just had the conversation, but we're looking at some updates in the app, which will include some information around the instructors and bits and pieces. So I think having that information on the websites and everything ready to go in the event that we do get what we want in the app happening, will just make the whole process for studios a lot smoother and easier as well. So and as we get more information on the app stuff, I'll obviously pass it on to the studios and let you know what we're working on. But it is kind of week 1 on that, and that will be probably one of the requirements of having that updated. Cool. Thank you. All right. So move on to the next screen. So for sales results for February, we saw across the studios 1,342 leads for the month. So Subi, you guys had a pretty incredible month in terms of leads and first-time bookings last month. So really great to see that massive boost in lead flow. Appointments sitting at 56%. So again, kind of anticipate that over time, as we kind of progress over the next month or so, that this number will increase as we're only looking for the leads that were entered in February. show rate sitting at 88% and enrollment at 12. So enrollment being really the main one that we need to continue working on improving. There has been some improvements among some of the studios, specifically Carmbine hitting that 32% mark. And they had a really awesome month last month in terms of growth. So we'll touch on the individual studio stats on the next slide. But then referrals sitting at 129. So we saw an increase of around 50 leads in referrals for the month of February, which is great to see. So if we continue driving and pushing that, making that a standard conversation in studio, expect that this number will increase as we kind of get better at asking for those referrals in studio. So sales stats by studio, won't go through this for each and every single one. But again, like I mentioned before, Subi had a pretty incredible month in terms of lead flow. So just under 400 leads for the month, which is awesome. Just that conversion piece, if we can get that up to that baseline of that 30%, makes such a big difference to the overall outcome at the end of the month. Fitzroy sitting in pretty strong behind them at 35%. You guys actually had an increase in membership conversion, which was great to see. Sitting at that 20% mark. Still a little bit of room for improvement, but it's good to see that improvements happening. And then, like I mentioned, Carmbine, who's typically been one of the lower performing studios in terms of leads, getting pretty close to that baseline target that we're aiming for. They had 200 last month. They hosted an in-studio free ride fest, which they did over I think it was a 4 or 5 day period. Which really allowed them to kind of hone in and drive some membership sales early on in the month and set themselves up for success as the month continued on. So 33 new membership signups and closed out at net positive 12 for the month. So referrals, again, 129 across the board, averaging 25.8 per studio. Grassroots, 8 for February. So I don't know if they're, again, just not being added in the correct way, or if we're just not doing grassroots effectively. I know Subi, we spoke about going and doing some of the local markets again, now that everything's kind of back in play after Christmas and New Year's. But I think just it's a missed opportunity from a lot of studios to help generate additional leads. We're seeing some great leads across the board, but it is really just that one piece of the puzzle that's kind of missing at the moment, is that additional grassroots leads. Which ultimately, again, if we top up our funnel, means that we'll have more bookings, more appointments, more shows, more enrollments at the end of the month. Attrition, 8.19%. So good to see this is under the 10% mark for the month. It was a very challenging month in terms of cancellations in February, which I'll touch on a little bit. And then sales, we saw a decrease in revenue of 1.8% and leads a decrease by 6% month on month. In February. So again, February was a pretty challenging month for cancellations. This was likely a continuation from Christmas and New Year, so people potentially that had frozen or put in their cancellation request. So starting to see that this has really eased off going into March, and that studios have a much more reasonable upcoming cancellation list, meaning that we can outgrow those. So I think now that we're in a position where we don't have a spike or a huge amount of cancellations coming in, just really honing in on that in-studio sales process and trying to convert as many people as we can, and trying to get all studios in a net positive position by the end of this month. Revenue wasn't impacted that much, most likely because a lot of the freezes that happened over Christmas have now come off the freeze list, and we're getting that revenue back in. But just on that, I know we did a call, I think it was towards the end of January, but just making sure that we're checking the non-paying members in both iKismet, and also checking the member list report in Club Ready, looking for any errors that might have been made while putting those freezes in place. So what we see happen from time to time is if a freeze is action for a customer, and then they want to amend that, and it freezes and canceled and then put back in place, what happens then is the invoice gets pushed out by the total duration of what we put on freeze. So if they had been put on freeze for 2 months initially, and then they request another month at the end of that, they would then have 3 or 4 months of total freeze time, and that invoice then gets pushed out to them. So we just want to make sure that we're not missing out on any revenue from those people, and that our invoice dates are correct. And then the non-paying ones is more around making sure that people are, again, billing at the correct time. So the way iKismet works is they are deemed as a non-paying member if a payment hasn't happened in the standard billing cycles of the agreement, being 7 days. So it's a quick way for us to easily identify any potential errors that might have happened at the studio level. If you guys want help with that, again, I'm happy to go through and do a review with you at a studio level to make sure that there isn't any missed revenue. But we did do some checks with a few studios. I know I kind of mentioned at the time on the January call, one of the rumbles that we did it with, within about 5 or 10 minutes, we picked up on around $800-900 worth of revenue that they were going to miss out on for the month had they not been checking this. Lastly, again, Currambine with a successful month with their free class fest grew by net 12 members. They actually hit the 300 mark last month, so it's great to see the progression at the studio since Catherine's taken over 6 months ago, and looking forward to seeing what Catherine and the team continue to drive there at the studio level. And I believe that is us. Any questions from anyone on the team?
You know what I want, Bryce?
Hit me up.
ClassPass. We need to have another conversation with ClassPass and up it. It's been 18 months. It's the only thing that is like seems to be inflation proof, and it really needs to go up.
Yeah. Maybe do you want me to organize a call with Tash, our support team member, yourself, myself, and we can have that conversation with them?
Yes, please. That would be excellent.
Yeah, let's do that. I'll send an email out after this call, and we'll organize a time where we can go through and do that. Tash, Rob, Bryce. Yeah, we can definitely have that discussion with them. I do think it's something that we should be able to get, but we'll see.
Great, thank you.
All good. Anybody else have questions? Upcoming sales, promotions, CAP program, anything else? Nope, we're good. All righty. Well, thank you everybody for jumping on this month. Looking forward to, I guess, seeing what we can accomplish in March now that our cancellations are under control, and hopefully we're all in green. So we'll see how we go. All right. Thanks, team.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.